This is WPSL Port St. Lucie, the talk of the Treasure Coast.
Views expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of WPSL. However, you are encouraged to like and share them and subscribe to WPSL TV on YouTube. You can share them on Facebook, and you can find the archives on YouTube of this show, presented each week by Howard Insurance of Port St. Lucie. It's the African American Scene with Rudy Howard.
Good evening, good evening, good evening. Always glad to be with you here on a Wednesday night. Let's see. What am I going to talk about tonight?
Let's see.
Do you think there's anything to talk about tonight?
You think maybe we might be able to dig up some issues that
Yes.
could be discussed, and folks would be glad to call in and discuss those issues. But what would be the best issue for tonight? Let's see. It's the 4th day of November. Oh, yesterday was November 3rd.
Yes.
Election day. Well, who won, by the way? Oh.
Yeah, well, it looks like, to the chagrin of many of my listeners, it looks like Biden's going to win. He has been awarded Wisconsin and Michigan, and as we heard just before I came on the air, he's now at 258, I believe it is.
Whoa, he only needs, what, 270?
Yeah, 270.
Yeah.
So
Uh-huh.
now I know there's going to be people not happy, and people are going to want to register their opinions. And the phone number is 340-1590. That's 340-1590. I had the opportunity last night, because I'm kind of sleepy now. I had the opportunity last night. One of my friends I graduated from college with, he is a newscaster in the D.C. area, and he did a live show last night and asked me if I would participate. So I did participate, but I couldn't get on till 10:25. And I hate to admit it, folks, that's past my bedtime. So, but I did. I was on there from about 10:25 to about 11:15, and it was a lot of fun. I was glad to be able to do it. But we got our first caller, Bob, on line 1. Yes, sir.
Hey, Rudy, how you doing?
Okay.
It's interesting. I heard something on a previous show that Trump needed 5 combinations of states in order to get his 270, yet Biden needed 11 combinations of states to get to his 270, yet Biden is only 17 electoral votes away from 270, where Trump is like 63. Something's wrong.
Well, what's
Something's wrong with the way they keep score.
Well, what's wrong with that?
Shouldn't Biden be the one that maybe needs the 5 combinations of states?
No.
And Trump needs the 11?
No, because what happened is Biden won the states that had the biggest electoral counts. That's the way the cookie crumbles. But even at that, Biden was going to win the popular vote by a country mile. The only thing keeping Trump alive was the Electoral College. Biden was killing him on the popular vote, just like Hillary beat him the last time on the popular vote.
Yeah. Well, I have been a believer since when I was back in school that the Electoral College ought to be done away with.
Agreed. 100% agreed.
And I think I have another way to do the count.
And let me tell you why I agree. And I talked about this, I think, 2 weeks ago. I think doing away with the Electoral College would really reduce the tribalism between Democrats and Republicans. And you know why I say that? Because Republicans would have to modify their ideology to attract the votes of California and New York. That's it. They would have to. They would have no choice, or else they'd get shut out all the time. So if they modified their ideology to attract a broader swath of people, we all benefit from that. The whole country would benefit from that, because that would make the process more of a moderate process than the extreme process it is now. Can you see that?
Okay, well, I'm thinking we have election practically month as it is now. Why don't we divide the states up alphabetically and have, let's say, A through G vote on Monday, H through L vote Tuesday, M and N vote Wednesday, O through S vote Thursday, P through W vote Friday.
And so, Bob, what would the purpose of that be?
It would be one man, one vote. There'd be no electoral college. All you'd have would be, the Democrat won Texas, Tennessee, and Utah.
Okay, I got you. Okay. Well, I mean, that's an approach. But one thing that you and I are in complete agreement with, I think the Electoral College needs to be done away with, and I think it would go a long way to unifying the country if you did away with the Electoral College. But that's my opinion. But thank you, sir. I got another caller. Appreciate your call, Bob. And we got Winnie. Winnie.
How you doing? I'm kind of disappointed a little bit because they ain't got no winner. Not yet.
Oh, yeah. It's inevitable, though. Inevitable. It's inevitable. It looks like Biden's going. I think Biden's going to win. It's just like it's like everybody thinks that it's just a matter of finish counting the votes, and that's why Trump is trying to stop the votes from being counted, because he doesn't want Biden to be declared the winner.
Yeah, that put a lot of alcohol. I'm not remember that back in the day, to recount. But they still counting, though. They still counting. And yesterday was the 3rd. What happened? Why they keep recounting? Why they still counting? And just they had no deadline or nothing. It should be over with, though, by now.
Do you think so? Do you think so?
Huh?
You think so?
Why, you don't think so? It should be over with?
They've never been over with on Election Day. Never.
Never been over with.
No, they haven't been.
My God.
But that's the lie our president tells you. They've never been over on Election Day. There's always it's true. Let me show you. There's always overseas ballots that come in. And there's been mail-in ballots with some states for
Yeah.
Years they've been doing mail-in ballots. And the official, as we learned in Bush v. Gore, the official date for the electors is December the 8th. So from the time of the election till December the 8th, there's the certification of electors, which is finalized on December the 8th when they vote. But he would have you believe, and this is what makes me so angry with him, and the people that believe everything that comes out of his mouth like it's the gospel, he would have you believe that no time in history has the vote gone past November the 3rd. And that's just a flat out lie.
I'm telling you, that's.
You didn't know that, right?
Wow.
You didn't know that.
No. Wow, tell Larry something new.
Listen, I know he's your guy, but you got to measure the things he says, because he does not tell the truth. Do you know this is the truth? You can look it up. Twitter had to take down some of his tweets because they were blatant lies. Now, there's somebody going to call up and attack me, and I don't care. Call up and attack me all you want. But
The number's 340-1590, by the way.
Yes.
That's how worried about it we are.
Yeah.
You have it.
Twitter actually took down several of his tweets today because they were lies about the electoral process.
That's bad business. That's bad business.
But he listen.
We'll be talking, Rudy.
Okay, all right, Winnie.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, but you know what, Cliff? The man has got magic. He really does. I've come to realize there is something about his personality that encaptures people. And I'm reading Michael Cohen's book, and Michael Cohen talks about how he got caught by Trump's personality and how he was in there, he couldn't see it, and his wife and his daughter was begging him to quit the job as Trump pushed him further and further into doing things that were unethical. But he said he was caught up. And I'm convinced now that people get Trumpified. I'm going to call it Trumpified. They do. And then when they finally absorb that Trumpification, they go deep into it.
There must be two manifestations of Trumpification. There are two different. This is getting deep, Rudy.
Yes.
But, folks, what do you think? 340-1590. Actually, it's all about what we all think. That's
well,
all.
I think there's some Trumptillians listening right now.
Trumptillians?
Yes, they're Trumpified, and you know he has almost a mesmerizing effect. And here's the thing that I'm going to say, and somebody's going to get mad at me for saying that, but I don't care. He's the biggest whining crybaby wimp I have ever seen in the White House, and everybody thinks he's strong. I don't know where you get the strong from.
That's the charisma part of it all.
Yes, I think it is.
Charismatic, as a matter of fact.
I'll give him that. I think he is charismatic, but he is a wimp. Running around, how come people don't like me? What do you mean you don't like me? Whenever somebody doesn't do something that he wants to do, it's a personal affront to him. And I talked about this last week, so I don't want to repeat myself, but you just take Obama, for example. They threw everything but the kitchen sink at him. You never heard Obama whine. You never heard him.
Never saw him blink.
Yes. He just kept his head up and keep working. He didn't go out and say, how come the people in the suburbs don't like me? Are you kidding me? That's insane. That's just weak. And today, as somebody said on the radio as I was coming here, he's acting like a child that you take to the supermarket that wants to get a pack of Pop-Tarts, and you say no, and they stomp their feet because they couldn't have their way. So now he's stomping his feet because he wants to stop the vote. Listen, there is no secret about where I am at politically. You know that if you've been listening to me. But I want the votes to count. And if Biden loses after the votes have been counted, so be it. I won't be happy, but that's the way the cookie crumbles. That's the way the ball bounces. That's the way our democracy is supposed to work. But you're going to call up and say, and then to make it worse, he wants to stop votes in some states, but not in other states. Oh, my God. This man is, and he has got us so divided. Oh, I am just so, and I have to say, I am bitterly disappointed in the people of my country that don't have more love for the country than to continue to support this man who is unfit for office. If you can't see what he did with COVID, let me just give you a clue. What he did with COVID is he pushed it onto the governors. Do you know why he pushed it onto the governors? See, you have to get inside of his mind and how it works. He pushed it onto the governors because if it went bad, it can't be fingered on him. He tells the governors to take care of it. He tells the governors to go get supplies. So if they can't get supplies and they can't arrange for the right treatment for the people of their state, he didn't do it, so he can claim that he wasn't the one that was responsible. That's why he's handled it the way he's had it. Plausible deniability. That's what he wanted, plausible deniability. And if you can't see that, shame on you, because that's exactly what it has been, plausible deniability. So I don't know, but I am so glad that at least this part of it is over. At least this part of it is over. And I know
I suppose everybody's too worn out to continue the argument.
No, I think there's people out there that are just absolutely incensed at what's going on.
Sure.
They don't even know why they're completely incensed, but they're incensed. There's people out there that think they're being cheated out of him being reelected, and I don't know why. He's already been impeached. Are you forgetting that? He has already been impeached, and nobody that voted for him not to be impeached didn't say that he didn't do anything wrong. Their statement was it didn't rise to the level of impeachment. Now, I want you to catch that again now. The Republican Party didn't say he didn't do anything wrong. Their argument was that it did not rise to the level of impeachment. That was their argument. But he was impeached for bad behavior. So I don't know. But, you know, and it's funny, I had 2 Trump incidents today. I went to get some gas from my car. And there was a little old guy in there, and he was ranting and raving. He said, they're trying to steal this election away from my president. And I said, I didn't say much anything. And he looked at me and he said, did you vote for Biden? I said, well, do you want to know? He said, I don't know how you could vote for that liar. I said, sir, you said that Biden's a liar? Yes, he's a liar. Okay. The man that's been documented over 22,000 times lying in the Washington Post, and he says Biden's a liar. Okay. And then I had a new client today, and I was enrolling him in a Medicare plan, and his wife was with him, and she said, it's sinful what they're doing to the president. I didn't say anything. You know, I'm trying to be professional. Yeah. Yes, I'm trying not to get into this at all. And she said, they haven't given him a minute's rest since the day he became president. I said, oh. And they said, what do you think? I said, well, you're my clients, and I don't want you to be aggravated with me, so I'm going to keep my opinion to myself. And they said, no, we're not like that. We're not like that.
Those ones you got to watch.
Yeah. I just said, the only thing I said was, do you think that President Obama was harassed when he was in office? They said, no, not at all. I said, okay. At that point, I said, okay. I let it go.
You're obviously talking to somebody who never watched the news during the Obama administration.
Well, I got to say, if my sister's listening, I'm very proud of myself because 20 years ago, I would have entered the fray and we would have had a blowout argument because I wouldn't have been able to restrain myself. But at this age, I've learned how to say, okay. I said, all right. I let it go. But anyway, so you don't have any opinion about what happened last night and what's going on today? I didn't even prepare because I just figured the phones were going to light up with people wanting to talk about the election. But I guess maybe people are just worn out from everything that happened last night.
Well, it is a big disappointment to it should be a big disappointment to everybody. You know that an election can be held up so easily, but then again, you got to count the votes. So they've got to be won correctly according to the law and the Constitution and everything. And if people believe that they're getting cheated, then they're disenfranchised. You know, they figure my vote doesn't even count. Because they were talking about that last night, especially because Florida has 2 time zones.
Right.
Up in the Panhandle,
Yep.
You've got Eastern and Central time.
That's
right
right.
about Mexico Beach is where the line was, because the bar on one side would close at 2 a.m., and everybody would head to the bar on the other side of the time zone line, which was 2 or 3 blocks down the road, and they got to stay another hour there.
Right.
That's how they beat that. But this is a little bit different, and you know, I'm really surprised that the phones aren't ringing with folks that want to say something about it.
Yeah, me too.
Perhaps they're intimidated because it's the African American scene, and they think that is this just a show for black opinion? Is it all? Well, you know, got to tell you something about the master race. You know, I'm getting in a lot of trouble these days for speaking out, saying that there was a master race created on this planet. You know, yes, there was. And it was the human race, and there's only one human race. Sorry, but truth beats everything, you know. There's only one human race. So there's no, well, look at this. It's a spiritual thing, Rudy. Because what do people who are spiritual do? They deal with other people with their spirits. They deal with their spirits, their within, their own being within. And they meet up with somebody, and they resonate together with a thought or a spiritual idea or something, and it really it's too loud for some people. But the spiritual realm is kind of quiet. But that's what we're in. It's not a battle of flesh and blood, Rudy.
No.
We've heard that over and over and over again, and someday it's going to mean something to somebody. Just think.
It is. It has become spiritual. I think that's a very good way to describe it, because there is a set of people who are convinced that they have to preserve the way things are and that things should not change. But
Now, that includes science sometimes, because I remember there were arguments over carbon-14 testing.
yes,
No, the Earth's only 6,000 years old. That's what we were told growing up, some of us, that the Earth was only 6,000 years old. And the carbon testing, they found out that the Earth is millions of years old. In fact, mankind has been here for a long time, longer than thought.
yes, but I think what has happened is people have been reluctant to change. But if you look all around you, and especially if you're my age, and think about all the changes that have taken place in your lifetime, and they were not all bad. Some of them were pretty good, that took place in your lifetime. So the constant evolution of our environment and as ourselves as human beings is not a bad thing. That's a good thing. If we have evolved in our capitalist society, where corporations are making trillions of dollars, that's not a bad thing if that is a system in which all members of society have an opportunity to partake in the wealth.
Opportunity, that's
Yes,
the key word
not,
there.
Not give, mind you.
Right.
Participate in the wealth. And listen, I can. The thing I like to talk about, and I've talked about it on here before. Forbes did an article about 2 years ago that I read, and Forbes magazine said, if the capitalists are not careful, they are going to not have people to buy their goods and services because there won't be enough money in the system for them to spend. So no matter how great the widget is that you have made, if nobody has money to spend, what good is it? Nobody will have it. Nobody will benefit from your genius in being able to invent that widget. Now, the person who I credit, although I don't always agree with everything he did, but Henry Ford kind of figured this out. He invented the Model T. It was an awesome invention, but nobody could afford it. So what did he do? He raised the pay of his people. That had an expansive effect in the economy, and guess what? People were able to start buying Model Ts because he was insightful enough to understand that being able to raise other people's wages inured to his benefit because it was allowed him to sell his product that was a great product that he couldn't sell. That's a form of progress. So protecting things the way they are has its place. I don't think that we have to throw everything out. And there's some things that are worthy of preserving, like museums and architecture and art forms. Those are good things. Those are good things. There's nothing wrong with protecting those. But in terms of life, our life is an evolution. It changes. We change. The average height of a man back in 1940 was like 5'6" or 5'7", right?
Yeah. That was before basketball was widely.
Yes, right.
That made him grow a little taller because you can't reach that hoop.
Yeah. So what's the average height of a man now? The average height of a man now is like 5'9" or thereabouts. So what happened? Evolution. The man evolved via nutrition, by chemical means of things that we were able to do to help to keep ourselves healthy. That's evolution. That's not a bad thing. So when you're trying to preserve your life, what are you preserving? What are you trying to protect? What makes you so nervous that you don't want any change? Hey, heck, Cliff, I remember when we watched TV and the little thing came on at 12 o'clock. You remember that?
With the national anthem.
With the national
And
anthem.
we sign off another day of broadcast.
That's it. It's done.
And then it would go fuzzy.
Yep. It would go fuzzy. There was no more TV.
Test tube, little announcement, and then it would either go into like a long tone beep
Yeah.
to a scratchy, snowy screen with nothing on it.
Happened in our lifetime, Cliff.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's the amazing thing.
Yeah.
And we've seen radio go from its absolute heyday to when it was very, very, very popular to where all of a sudden it's evolving into something else. What we did in here in the studio last night, we had our engineer was in here with extra equipment and extra computers and cameras, and he had election results scrolling on the screen. He could switch cameras to show the Zoom cast that we were part of. We were doing all this live on YouTube and Facebook, and things that I think we can expect some more of with the Christmas kids later on at the end of this month. We're going to put 2 weeks aside, and instead of taking part of the 11 o'clock shows like we've done in the past, we've donated the Swap Shop to the Christmas kids. The first half of Swap Shop will be the Christmas Kids program, and we've got it posted on the internet who will be here which days, so all the folks we usually see every year will be there. And we'll also have some pretty cool special effects. So the music this year, I think, was something that was pre-recorded from previous years, but professionally videography. Wow, we made videos, is what. And we'll have them, and we'll integrate them into the,
Well,
into the
yeah.
shows.
Again, this is all evolution. So when you're trying to protect things because you don't want to change, what opportunity? Now, watch this. Now, catch this. Now, listen to me very carefully.
Might learn something. Watch out.
What opportunity are you missing when you try to prevent change? What are you missing? Do you think there's an opportunity out there that you might be missing because you don't want to make change? I will tell you I like this story about the Post-it notes. The guy that invented the Post-it notes for 3M came to his boss with this idea for Post-it notes. And his boss said, what an enormous waste of time and money to try to create that kind of thing.
The guy that invented the paperclip had the same problem.
Right? He said, that Post-it note thing is never going to work. And we got Phil on line one. Yes, sir.
Hey, Rudy, how you doing tonight?
Okay.
Okay. Real quick before I get to the subject matter at hand, you were talking about the old-time radio, and Cliff was talking about the tubes and stuff like that. And I remember growing up in Morton County as a little kid, WSTU was the only game in town. We didn't even have any FM then at all. Okay, we'd come in at 6 o'clock in the morning. It would start with the national anthem, and then it would go into this long spiel about WSTU started, broadcasting day, and then it would go into how many watts daytime, how many watts nighttime.
Yeah.
Wow.
Sunset, and at midnight, boom, done. They do their transmitter maintenance and all their other stuff, and then at 6 o'clock it would come on again. And real quick, this is for Cliff's benefit. He does that program, Swap Shop. The roots of Swap Shop came from originally WSTU. They had a program noontime, and it was called the Trading Post.
Yep. Now I wasn't here yet. I wasn't here yet at that time, but we're talking about 1951 or so. I came along. I discovered America in 1958.
Yeah, in the 50s and the 60s. So there you go, Cliff. A little trivia for you.
Yeah.
So you're carrying on a tradition that goes way back. But anyway, what I wanted to ask Rudy is, and maybe just to see whether it's around the question, just whether it's, I can't talk too long. I got to go, but I'll listen to you anyway.
Okay.
The only issue I have with Biden, there's only really two. The first one is, what concerns me is they're beating to death the fact that he's in love with China and vice versa. And the other thing that concerns me about Biden is his health or his mental stability. And I just want to see what your comments were with that. So I'm gonna hang up, and then I'm gonna listen to you because I can't be on too long. Okay. All right. Thanks, Rudy. I appreciate it.
Wow.
Let's go with the first item. China. That's a cranked up piece of stuff that doesn't have any merit to it. And I think it's based on this Hunter Biden thing, but let me share with you what I shared with a friend of mine. If you believe that Biden had the ability to control Hunter Biden, who was grown and no longer a resident of his household, then you don't have any grown kids. I talked about this last week.
I remember when I was raising kids, all my friends who had never had any children yet had the most to say on how you should raise your kids.
Yeah.
You know, people without any experience, they always want to, commit everyone to their every whim.
Well, listen, and when the kid is out of the house, you hope you have instilled the values in them that will allow them to be successful in life. But once they're out of the house, they do what they want to do. And they may consult you for some advice, and they may not consult you for advice, but you have no control over that. So,
and you're not the first person who's ever found that they have no control over that.
Yeah, for sure. The best example I could give you is you raise your kids in a Christian family and they go out and become a drug addict. Did you do that? You didn't do that. They did it. Now, they may have gotten in a bad circle with a bad group of people, and it happens. So what makes you think his grown son, who's making thousands of dollars, doing whatever he's doing as a businessman, and that Biden is supposed to control that? See, that's one of them things that just really doesn't make any sense. And now, as for the other question, I watched Biden very carefully early on because he was not my first choice to be Democratic president. And I think he's lucid. I have seen no signs of the fact that he's not able to think and to think clearly. I just haven't seen it. I looked for it early on, and I didn't see it, and then I became convinced that he can do it. Now, this is something I've told my son, and Phil, I'm sure you won't disagree with me on this. One of the things about the mind, as we get older, the body gets weaker because the muscles won't do what they could do when at 60, what they could do when they were 20.
And that's a big disappointment to some of us.
Yes. But the mind, if it's properly stimulated, gets stronger. Is filled with more knowledge. It's filled with more wisdom. You can be still very sound, in mind, well into your 70s. And I don't see that as being a problem. The other thing, and I don't think they say it out loud, but I think there's some concern that Kamala might become president because of Biden's age. Well, I really don't have any fear of that either, because I think she is smart. I think she's articulate, and I think she has the wherewithal to...
She's hot, too.
Well, yeah, she's that, too, yeah. But, yeah, so I hope I answered your questions fairly there, Phil, but I have no concern about either one of those things. And I think the whole thing with Hunter Biden is just... Steve called me last week and tried to hit me with that, and I subsequently did some research on it after last week's show, and I found nothing. There is nothing other than you can get on the hard right-wing internet sites and some of the internet shows that are out there. But I think that, listen, the one thing that Biden has said over and over again, which pleases me, and I think it should please all of you, is he said, I will be the president of all people, not just the people that voted for me, but of all people. I will do what I can for those that didn't vote for me as much as the ones that did vote for me. And that's really what the president is supposed to do. Unfortunately, the president we have now feels as though he has an allegiance to 46% of the American population, beginning and end. And he's willing to trash all the rest of America if they're not on his side. Again, another trait of an insecure, baby whining person. I think you got the point of how I feel about that. So, I hope. Listen. At this point, there's one side of me that wants revenge for some of the things that have been done. And there's another side of me, for the sake of my country, I hope that we're able to find some way to come together and create a country with more harmony. I hope. But I'm not going to tell you any lie. There's some things that have happened that I harbor bitter feelings about, and I don't think it would be wrong for the pursuit of some payback, because some things that were done was just so wrong and calculated that it just doesn't seem to me to be right. But I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful that Biden can pull us together because, excuse me, I'm yawning because I was up so late last night.
You too, huh?
Yeah.
Oh,
We can't continue down this road. We got to find a way to get off of this train and get to a better place as a country for all of us. And I think we can. It'll take some effort. It will take some sacrifice.
We've always pulled through before.
Yeah. Well, some of us are going to have to sacrifice some of the things that we deem as important for the betterment of the whole. You know, it's just like, when I played basketball, my high school coach, sometimes he would say, I want you to go in there and stop this guy. I don't even want you to think about taking a shot. Okay? That's my mission. And that was for the team. For the team, my job was to go in there and stop Charlie Jackson. And I did. I spent every minute I was on that floor chasing him around like I was stuck to him like glue. And I didn't mind because that was part of my responsibility as a teammate, if that's what we needed to do to be successful. And that's what we have to do as people. We have to do those things that I think can help make us a successful country. And if you have to sacrifice a little to do that, so be it. And if you have to help your neighbor do it, so be it. If you had a good shooter on your team, then you set picks so that he could break free and get a shot. That's part of the process. Same thing in society. We gotta help each other, even if it requires a little sacrifice. And I think we can do that. But in any event, I'm really surprised that you guys have been so quiet tonight. Because, like I said, I didn't do hard.
It's like some folks have been taken out behind a barn, the old-fashioned way, and they're not too quick to jump in here and start throwing their weight around all of a sudden.
No, I think there's a lot of, well, there's certainly a lot of tension. I could feel that today, just moving around.
But maybe folks understand that it's okay to think.
Yeah.
It's quite all right to think. And it's quite okay to have an opinion. Now, sometimes it's not always not always valuable to you to state your opinion, but you're welcome to do so here. I don't see why you're not participating tonight, because tonight would be the night. If anybody could say anything, tonight would be the night.
Yeah.
Because everybody's disappointed. Everybody wants to know what the outcome this has been. We're just going to have to wait. See, that's how we learn patience.
Yeah.
Now, I wouldn't recommend the way I learned patience. I wouldn't recommend it to anybody. But you can learn patience when you're forced to go through something for a prolonged period of time. You learn to be patient. Don't ever pray for patience, because when you get it, you're not going to like it. I guarantee you will not like it. It will not be fun. But
yeah.
You can obtain patience that way. It works.
Yes.
Unfortunately.
Yes, it does.
But maybe this is one of the ways that people's patience are being dealt with right now.
Yeah.
That's a possibility right there. Maybe we all ought to just take a deep breath and say, let's keep on moving forward, because let us be the ones to pick up and continue doing what we do. The presidents are elected to do such, and they're supposed to do that. But we've got to do our thing, too.
Absolutely.
We need to do our thing. So while we're at it, I mean, we're down to 4 minutes left in the show, and usually in the last 60 seconds is when the phone's going to ring and everybody's going to want to get on. But the show is only on the air for another 4 minutes, folks. If you want to get in and out here real quick, make a comment about the election or whatever, you're welcome to do so.
Well, we keep going through this. I remember when the governor's race, when Chuck and I was still speaking to each other, he called me up and he said, they're trying to steal the race. And I said, let them finish the count. No, they're trying to steal the race. I said, Chuck, let them finish the count. When the count's done, then we'll know who the governor is. But he was calling up, he was prepared to, he was going off about they're trying to steal the race from DeSantis. And they, sure enough, they were finishing the count. They finished the count and DeSantis won.
Got to admit, some of the advertising techniques of candidates are quite rough.
Yeah,
There's some really rough stuff going on in some of the candidates' ads, but then that's how they get elected. You know, they got to do something to get elected, and that gets the public's attention.
They inflame people by stating things that are true and untrue.
With just enough truth in it to make it believable. We've heard that. We know that formula. And if you tell one lie, it takes 10 more to cover for it, because you're going to have to lie every time somebody inquires about something having to do with what you lied about.
Yeah.
It gets hard after a while, and your words catch you.
Yeah. That's very true. But listen, by Friday, we might even know tonight for sure. It looks like Biden's going to be the new president of the United States. And I think by sometime tomorrow, at the latest Friday, it'll be confirmed that Biden is the new president of the United States. And I am hopeful that he will be able to put together some synergy that will help to heal the divide that exists within our country. Because there's a big, giant chasm right now that needs to be closed. Yeah. So,
Wow.
and I think he can. I'm very optimistic that Biden is going to be able to do that, to bring the country together. And I hope that you all will get on board and allow him to do it. Not ask you to sacrifice your principles or your ideology, but let's try to see if we can't find a medium level in which we can meet each other.
We could call it common ground.
And we can all work together, yes.
That's right. The master race can work with itself, mankind, together. We're all in this together. I mean, if we don't like it, we don't have any choice. We can't go to another planet and try somewhere else.
That's right.
Not yet, anyway. We're getting there.
Yeah. Got another 50 years, maybe.
All right.
Well, folks, I'd like to thank you so much for tuning in to the African American scene. God bless and be safe. And I will see you next Wednesday right here for the African American scene.
This is WPSL Port St. Lucie, the talk of the Treasure Coast.